that's a bit of a cheat, because this interview I did is in Oakland, which is a bit of a drive over the bay and nowhere near as nice. And I spent the afternoon with Mary Roach, the science writer, who's written a series of amazing, humorous books. Stiff, Bonk, Packing for Mars. She's got one coming out in April called Gulp, which is about the ickiness of the alimentary canal and the digestive system, which will be amazing. And that's what her stock in trade is. She writes about basically the goiness of science, and the Packing for Mars, which we'll talk about in this interview, is about human space travel and how would you go to the toilet in space and have people have sex in space and stuff. And in the little clip that I'm going to play, we're talking about astronauts, but in this case not necessarily human astronauts. So Paul, if you would play.
There's a long and sometimes ignoble tradition of animals going into space first before we send humans up. I want to spend some time talking about chimps.
The chimps were kind of the dress rehearsal for America's first people in space. And the astronauts, the Mercury astronauts, were very much against sending up a dress rehearsal with a chimp. They're like, we're ready, send us up. But there was a concern that being weightless would somehow affect the nervous system, the brain, in a way that the astronaut wouldn't be able to do tasks. So they were interested in also, could the chimp reach out and push levers and do these simple things that an astronaut would have to be able to do. So there were two things they were looking at with the chimps. And just it was kind of, crossing the T's and dotting the I's and making sure that there wasn't going to be this kind of catastrophic thing that had been overlooked when they sent them up into space. So the chimps, Ham being the most famous, Ham was the first to go. Enos actually orbited the Earth more. Enos did a much more newsworthy mission, but because he was second, he didn't get all the glory, and he wasn't as cute as Ham.
But also, he wasn't so much of a well-behaved poster boy.
No,
was
he wasn't the same poster boy. Ham was super cute, and Enos was an unattractive and really ornery chimp. Nobody liked Enos, and Enos got this horrible reputation as a masturbator. They called him Enos the Penis, and people assumed it's because he was a masturbator. In fact, Enos the Penis, I tracked down Enos's trainer, who's still alive, and I said, so this nickname, Enos the Penis? He said, yeah, we gave that to him because he was just such a little son of a gun. I said, you mean he was a dick? Yeah, that's why we called him Enos the Penis. I said, do you mean he didn't have, a habit of playing with himself? But he said, Mary, all chimps play with themselves. I said, no, that's not true. Who told you that about Enos? But there's this rumor, you look up any of a half dozen space histories from the time, they'll talk about Enos had this habit and he would whip it out during press conferences and play with himself. And in fact, it's not true.
I like to think the reason the late Neil Armstrong was held in such high esteem. He didn't have a habit of whipping it out. Buzz Aldrin on